An elegant little glass dish decorates the countertop. The dish is full of green mints offered for the enjoyment of the customer.
I haven't spoken to you yet, but can I grab one of those, please?
Alexander takes a mint. The small green mint looks very tasty.
I'll test it out later.
The pawn shop's counter is made of a sturdy teak. The wood is well worn by eager hands and well oiled by the shop's faithful keeper. Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter.
Okay, there's a bit of pixel hunting involved there. I do not like it. What do we have? A bird, a flute, a recorder, paintbrush, and a lantern?
I see you have noticed my mechanical nightingale. She is made of plain tin, but she sings the sweetest song you can imagine, barely distinguishable from the real thing. The flute is only made of plain wood, but its notes are fine and true. Ah, yes, the painter's brush. It was well used by one of the island's best painters. There's a lot of creativity in that brush, and its bristles are still in good condition. Have you an interest in tinder boxes? This one is only slightly battered. It holds a good supply of flint, a sturdy striking pad, and even a candle in case you find yourself with naught else to hold the flame.
I've got vague memories of being able to get one of these items and then you trade it back for another item. I know you probably hate me for saying that, but that's just my memory of it.
The pawn shop owner is a mysterious fellow. His face is old and inscrutable, and there's a glint of sheer iron in his gaze. Still, Alexander senses this is someone he can trust.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business.
The ferry's gone.
Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it is beyond me. But then, I am a shopkeeper, not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
The ferry used to service the Isles for God knows how long. It is gone now. The Isle of the Crown is doing nothing about it. That sounds like the Vizier is up to no good.
How bide you, good merchant?
Quite well, though a purchase would not hurt me any.
How bide you?
Quite well.
Can I give you this gold coin that you've never seen before and therefore has no value? Although we're in a pawn shop, which means it does have value.
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency.
Indeed.
The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
Let me just grab one of these.
I'll take the flute.
Very well. Your coin is well spent. Remember, this is a pawn shop. I am always willing to take back my own goods in trade.
I'll remember. Thank you.
So we have a nightingale, a flute, a tinderbox, and a paintbrush. And I can trade these items freely.
Would you mind if I traded this in?
Certainly not, stranger. Please, choose an item in exchange from those on the counter.
Alexander looks closely at the items on the counter to make his selection.
I'm really not interested in anything on the counter at this time.
As you wish. Allow me to return your item for trade.
We get the flute back. Okay. I'll bear that in mind. I believe these are puzzle solutions, or that we're going to need them to solve puzzles, but I don't know what for yet, so let me hold on handing over the flute.
Windows face the street from living quarters above the bookstore.
A bookstore.
The village buildings are made of rough sandstone stucco. This one has a shop on the street level and a private dwelling up above. Steps lead up to the shop door.
Old lamp!
The dusty window of the bookshop looks out over the street in a welcoming way.
We're not getting the same message about how we can't look through the window.
The village built.
Okay, there's nothing there. Let's just go straight in.
The sign above the door says Ali's Books.
Hello, I will be right up. Now, what can I do for you?
Alexander is standing in a cozy little shop. Books of every size and shape line the walls. A crackling fire in the fireplace completes the tranquil scene.
I'll admit it looks nice, but... Okay, I need to talk about you in just a moment. I'll admit this looks nice, but why would you have a fire going on in a bookstore? In a place full of flammable items?
A plaque bearing a merchant crest hangs over the doorway. The bookshop owner must be proud of his credentials.
So this guy just turns to the right and you saw a little sparkle in his eye. And when we were speaking to the vizier, there was someone in the background wearing a turban whose eye was also sparkling at certain points. I did not point that out, but I do recall that's a huge part of this game.
There's a small table near the door that bears a sign. The sign has undergone a number of changes. It once read 10 pence, but that was crossed out and replaced with 5 pence, then 1 pence, then free. The sign currently reads, "Take one, please." Only one book remains on the table. It looks like the bookshop owner really wants to get rid of that book.
Okay, we'll help him get rid of the book.
Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh, yes, please, take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really? Thanks.
What is it?
Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table in the bookshop. Alexander opens the bargain book and reads a paragraph at random.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of 40 half-dulcimers, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of 53 1/8 bottles of wild beast lard.
Phew, what an incredibly boring book. No wonder the bookshop owner wanted to get rid of it so badly.
Once again, no kink shaming chat.
Alexander
2 dulcimers.
Same thing, so that appears to be able to put us to sleep.
Phew.
Might come in handy later, perhaps.
The window, partially blocked by the shop's overflow of books, gives a rather dusty view of the street outside. A collection of children's books fill those shelves. Assorted travelogues and biographies are arranged on these shelves. These shelves hold a selection of cookbooks.
Oh, hell.
These assorted...
Not of the cookbooks, just the fact that this place is arranged with different stuff on different shelves.
Alexander is standing in a These shelves hold a collection of oddly titled guidebooks. Alexander notices such books as How to Become King with Little or No Rupees Down, Finding the Right Girl with the Right Dowry, and Why Good Princesses Like Bad Wizards.
Are you allowed to say rupees? Would Nintendo get upset?
Volumes of poetry are on display on this bookshelf. These shelves... A stone fireplace gives the bookshop a quaint, cozy air. A small fire burns in the fireplace despite the warmth of the day outside. Perhaps the bookshop owner simply finds it comforting.
It's all comforting until you get a stray spark, and then... yeah.
There's a book entitled The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages on the small table in the reading area. It appears that some regular customer likes that book.
Is this in any way related to that dude that we saw who might be standing right there?
The fireplace can provide Alexander with nothing but warmth. Alexander rests his feet for a moment. Alexander picks up and leafs idly through a book called The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages.
Anything?
Well, that was refreshing.
I was about to click the mouse, but no, he got up. Okay. Who are you?
An old man occasionally steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under a concealing hood.
Good day, sir.
The mysterious old man just ignores Alexander.
Good day, sir.
I'm Alexander of Daventry.
The old man would not be interested in anything that Alexander might show him.
Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you?
My name is Alexander. I know I'm on the Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby.
You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown, because the royal family's castle is here. Besides the castle, we also have this village, and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands: the Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder.
At least 3? Does no one know for certain?
This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go. Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world.
That's quite a claim.
Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night.
Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them?
Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle.
Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice.
But advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more.
Indeed, it does. Very wise. That's an interesting way to end that conversation, though, because he said that if you haven't been to the castle, you should go there and get an audience. But that's how we know we are on the Isle of the Crown, which is what we mentioned. A couple of things that come out of that. I assume Casima's been kidnapped or she's been gone for a while, because he talked about years of political unrest. But he also mentioned that the land of the Green Isles is closer to other realms. When we died, we did go to what I believe was the land of the dead. That might not just be a local superstition.
How fare you, merchant?
I have been reading too much love poetry lately. It is rather depressing to an old bachelor like me.
While the bookshop does not seem to invite conversation, Alexander might be better off addressing someone specific.
How fare you, merchant?
Business could be better. Too many people are losing interest in reading these days. It is a sign of the times.
Ain't that the truth?
How fare you?
Well, I would be better if I could only finish my manuscript. I am a budding novelist, you know.
How fa-
Quite well, thank you. I just finished a wonderful book on geological rock formations. Fascinating.
How fair?
Quite well.
How fair?
Quite well.
How fair?
Sufficiently well, thank you, Alexander. My only wish is for more time to read.
I don't think we're getting anything out of here, but this guy is sus.
Good day, sir.
The mysterious old man just ignores Alexander.
He is super sus. Right, let's head north, or what I assume is north through this Keystone Arch.
Alexander is standing on a dirt street leading through the village. To his right is a fine house with a private yard. The yard is surrounded by a gated fence and is full of red rose hedges. The street continues off to the northwest, from which direction Alexander can feel a light sea breeze.
Yep, up is north.
There's a young girl in the yard. The girl is dressed in a long, plain orange robe with a thick headdress. From the appearance of her clothes and from a skittish, fearful look about her, Alexander gets the strong impression that she is a servant, or even worse, a slave. The serving girl appears to be stealing a quiet moment tending the rose bushes. The girl is too far away to hold a conversation with Alexander.
Can I get close to her?
You lazy thing! Get back to work and stay away from those roses! I've told you 1,000,000 times, those flowers are too sweet for the likes of you!
Oof.
You've still got to do the breakfast dishes, make lunch, and clean the stables yet this morning! And get your veil back on! No one wants to look at your face!
Yes, stepmother.
No one wants to hear your voice, stepmother. Yeah, definitely being treated as a slave.
There is no reply. The girl is too...
Dang. All is not idyllic on the Isle of the Crown, very clearly.
Alexander is standing on a... Red roses beautifully cover the top of the house's fence and gate arbor. Rocks abound. The house is made of stucco in an architectural style native to the island. It is apparently quite old since climbing vines embrace its exterior. The entrance to the house is a time-worn wooden door. The windows of the stucco house have neither glass nor curtains, allowing full entry to the warm sea breeze. Palm trees as graceful as gazelles wave in the warm tropical breeze. Red roses beautifully cover the top of the house's fence and gate arbor.
Can I steal a rose?
Alexander has not been invited to pick the family's roses.
Take that as a no.
The gate is closed. It appears that the house's owners like their privacy.
Can I go through?
Alexander doesn't want to intrude on private property unless he's been invited. Shadows of the house lay across the dusty path between the village and the sea.
I don't see anything else here. We've been through a bunch of screens and I haven't been able to do anything on those screens yet, so I'll come back for them, but I'm not sure for what purpose.
Hey, stranger, come join me. The water is wonderful, and I can show you the way to the next island.
No, you're full of shit, dude, and your eye is twinkling.
A young boy is happily swimming in the sea off the docks.
Come on, jump in. A little water won't hurt you.
The undertow?
Good day. I'm Alexander. What are you doing in the sea?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm swimming. I mean, come join me. The water's wonderful. I can show you the way to the next island. Come join me if you're brave enough. Come join me if you're brave enough. What are you waiting for? I said I'd show you how to get to the next island, didn't I?
We'll go in just a moment, but let's just wait and see what happens. Oh,
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
I did not click the mouse there. Can I walk off here? That wave. Yeah, the undertow takes us out here.
The currents are... As Alex...
Every time we die, we need to come through here.
Tickets. Oh. Next.
Nothing like getting... Considering the poor condition of the shore, it looks like the easiest way to get into the water is just to jump off the pier. The powerful currents grab Alexander.
Yeah, he doesn't have dialogue there. That's curious. Right, you're full of shit, very clearly.
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
We have a teleporting dude with a gleam in his eye. And we definitely saw someone with a gleam in their eye during the Vizier's meeting. It's got to be that dude in the turban. Maybe a genie? Maybe it's that genie we imprisoned for 500 years, or not that. Maybe it's the genie we let out of the bottle, and he imprisoned the witch for 500 years. Maybe he's after us now. Let's take a look around here.
Alexander is standing at the island's docks. Both the pier and the only boat in sight are in sad repair.
Is this the same boat that used to be the ferry?
A decrepit pier juts out into the sea. The waters in this cove appear calm, but there's a dimpling pattern to the surface, which indicates an undertow.
Yep, we walk there, we die.
Rocks above Alexander. The boat has been dry docked upon a sandy bar. It's not going anywhere.
We're not repairing this boat.
Alexander. The boat has been dry. An old canvas bag full of sand hangs off the side of the boat. It was most likely used as a bumper when docking the boat against the pier, but it's rather pointless now. A wooden door leads to the interior of the boat's cabin. The battered old sail doesn't look like it's ever going to catch its second wind.
Can I take that sail?
Rising from the deck of the ferry, the sturdy wooden mast almost pierces the sky. A worn wooden vessel has been dry docked on a jetty. The boat is in sad shape. A hole in the hull and the condition of its boards make it obvious that the vessel is no longer seaworthy. A good-sized hole in the boat's hull indicates that it's not fit for the sea. Alexander wonders if the hole was the reason the boat was dry docked, or if the tear was caused by the dry docking.
I am not a nautical, whatever you want to call it, chat, but I assume it is the former and not the latter. Rotting really wouldn't cause a hole of that size, I think, unless it's been there for decades.
A wooden door leads to the interior of the boat's cabin.
Now look inside that window.
A worn...
Nope. Okay, let's try going inside.
Yeah, what do you want?
I'd like to have a chat to you.
Alexander promises himself that he will not go home until he has determined what Casima's feelings are for him, and if she needs his help.
She wasn't asking for help in the magic mirror, though. She just said, I'm lonely. Maybe she is in for the Vizier.
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside.
Score.
What is it you wanted to talk about, young man?
Let me make a save because I see something directly in front of me.
There's a rabbit's foot on the table. It seems the ferryman is counting on a little luck.
Can I take it?
There's nothing of interest.
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought you much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving the darn thing away will bring me good fortune at last.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you.
You got points for that, so it can't all be bad. Let's take a look around here.
Alexander is sitting inside the ferry's cabin. The place displays the neatness of a seaman and the sparseness of a bachelor. There are few frills and comforts in the rough wooden environment, but the sunlight shines cheerily on the oaken beams, and the portholes admit a pleasant breeze.
He lives in his boat.
The ferryman's bunk looks hard and uncomfortable. No wonder he can be so cranky.
Makes sense, I guess.
Several oil lamps are strategically placed around the boat's cabin to illuminate the island's dark nights. Portholes provide fresh sea air and daylight to the boat's small cabin. A cabinet with a dry sink lines one wall of the cabin. A black pot-bellied stove in the corner provides warmth on the cool tropical nights and a means for cooking. Alexander is sitting.
Trying to look at these things on the wall, but nothing doing.
There's a barrel near the door.
Maybe the barrel?
Alexander doesn't want to get into the ferryman's things uninvited.
Very fair.
The ferryman is a disgruntled-looking man who is probably a lot younger than he appears. Despite his tired air, he watches Alexander patiently.
Let's have a chat.
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
It just ain't safe to sail these days, what with the islands feuding and all. Wazir Al-Hazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
But there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Another magic map. Alexander is familiar with those. Well, it was optional, but in our timeline, he is familiar with it.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Cassima
There we go.
themselves. There was no thought of danger back then. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between the islands. I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly.
By whom?
Princess Cassima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen, but the Queen had no answer.
Right, so King Calafim and Queen Ilaria were Cassima's parents, and they are missing, presumed dead. Or they've died. I don't remember which. So whoever wrote the manual said that Calafim and Ilaria didn't have an heir. No prince, no princess, I assume. Since then, Cassima has appeared in the picture. She is presumably of age because Alexander's interested, and it would be terrible if she wasn't. But Ilaria and Cassima went to another island. Something happened. She came back, or they came back, and they refused to say what happened to the ferryman. Was the vizier involved at that stage already? Don't know.
What do you do now that the ferry no longer operates?
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good now.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more seaworthy?
Boats don't last long on these shoals, as you may have found out if you got here by ship. You can be quite sure that this old ferry is, or was, the only craft on the island.
So it really wasn't about the blood of the navigators or whatever. It was basically just training and knowledge. Also, shout out to the lip syncing here. This is really good.
Tell me more about Princess Cassima.
Ah, such a beautiful child, and so pure of heart. Why, a contrary thought has never crossed her mind. Her mother was the same. The king and queen, they served the islands, not the other way around. Always thinking about the people. Ah, they are sorely missed.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Isle of the Beast is pretty, but unfortunately, you can't get very far onto the island.
What else can...
The inhabitants of the Isle of the Sacred Mountain are the most gorgeous creatures you'll ever see. If you ever get to see them, that is.
The person who wrote the manual said the same thing about the Isle of the Beast. They couldn't get inland.
What else can you...
The Castle of the Crown sure is a beauty. She's the finest palace ever built, I'll warrant.
What about the one that's covered in mist? The rumor.
What else can...
Some say that the land of the Green Isles is near the edge of the world, and that the deadly currents are a result of a magnetism that sucks life from this world to the next. Of course, that's just silly talk.
What else...
Let's see.
Alright, he's looping.
What else...
The Isle of the Beast?
Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks for allowing me into your home.
Posh, not at all. It breaks the boredom, if you know what I mean.
That's Sai. He speaks of a magic map at the pawn shop, so that's where we're going next. Before we do that though, let me just check here to see if this old man has moved.
Good day again. How may I help you?
Who are you?
An odd-looking man is reading in the stuffed chair. He wears a vest, balloon-style pants, and pointed shoes. There's something deliberately silly about the man, as though he were a performer of some sort.
Would you say a court entertainer? I don't see his eye gleaming though.
Good day, sir. Is there anything you can tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I'm sorry, but I have no time for idle conversation. I'm too worried about the princess.
Me too.
Excuse me again, sir. You mentioned the princess.
I told you I'm not interested in talking to strangers.
Excuse me.
I told...
Just taking a look at his eye. I don't see anything sparkling there, so I assume he is legit. I'm trying to put the cursor over there, but keeping an eye on his eyes. It's harder than it seems.
Good day.
Okay, he's in here. That's a problem. If we talk about the magic map right now, he's going to find ours.
Good day, sir.
The old man just glares at Alexander and does not reply.
That twinkle in his eye. Right there.
Good day.
Let's make a save, but I've got a feeling something terrible is going to happen.
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you might have a magic map of the land of the Green Isles.
Why, as a matter of fact, I do. I keep it under the counter. It's been gathering dust so long that I nearly forgot about it. It was quite a few years ago, you see. The estate of a wealthy wizard fell into my hands when he died. It was useless magical junk mostly, which reminds me, I've still got some things of his in the back that I need to dump out. Anyway, the magic map was the one true treasure in the lot. The wizard was quite old and feeble, and had enchanted the map to aid in traveling. It is said that one need only desire to be on an island depicted on the map to find oneself there. It is a very valuable map, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, no one is interested in traveling these days.
Really?
It is far too dangerous with the current state of the kingdom.
What would you take for the map?
I would normally want something magic in return, But since I am hardly overrun with prospective buyers, I would be willing to take anything of equal value in exchange.
The only valuable thing we've got is our signet ring.
Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table in the bookshop.
The copper coin will only give us what's on the bench.
The rabbit's foot has long, soft fur.
Yeah, we can ransom that for the ring, I think. The fact that no one wants to travel, though, that's curious. I mean, that's incredibly valuable. That is the only means of travel right now.
Would you be willing to take my family ring in exchange for the magic map?
Daventry, are you a king then?
No, that's my father, King Graham. I'm just Alexander.
Well, Prince Alex, she is a beautiful ring. Are you sure you can part with such a unique family heirloom?
The ring does mean a lot to me. I didn't always have a family, you know. Still, it is only gold. There are more important things at stake now.
Then you now own a magic map, Prince Alex. I will keep your ring out of sight for a few days. If you find anything else of great value in your travels, you can come back for your ring. I would hate to see it melted down for gold. Ah, and a warning about the map. It will only operate when you are out in the open and within sight of the sea. The limitation has something to do with the teleport spell ingredients. You might try the beach.
Thank you. You are very kind, and I'll remember about the map.
Can we bring the map back and exchange it back for the ring?
Suddenly, the old man in the concealing cloak sneaks past Alexander, and with a sneaky dart of his hand, steals a mint from the candy jar. The old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of the pawn shop.
Moments later. Seconds later, in the castle.
Master! I followed Prince Alexander as you wished. From the pawn shop owner, he just abstained, just reprieved. He just got a magic map.
Are you drunk?
You fool! You've been eating those mints again. I ordered you to stop that. Yes, Master.
Do these mints have alcohol in them?
What is this about a magic map? With the map, Prince Alexander could travel anywhere as quickly as I can. I thought I took care of the only means of travel. By my scimitar, I can't have him stirring things up now. Get a hold of yourself and listen carefully, Shamir. Go to the other islands and tell them...
His name is Shamir. The Vizier took care of the methods of travel. That's... I mean, it's not unexpected, but it is deeply concerning. Oh, the peddler's gone. Will the peddler come back?
A large round...
There's got to be something in there.
Alexander sorts through the odds and ends that the pawn shop owner dumped into the pot. Magic exploding gum wrappers, a shattered crystal ball, a cracked wand, a fake thumb. Near the bottom, Alexander finds a little glass bottle labeled ink. It appears to be empty, but Alexander decides to take it anyway. You never know when a small bottle will come in handy.
Invisible ink, perhaps?
Alexander's carrying a little ink bottle. It appears to be empty.
No, that is not an empty bottle. That is invisible ink, surely.
The magic map is made of thin leather and has lifelike drawings of the islands on its uneven surface. Alexander remembers what the pawnshop owner said about only being able to use the map out in the open and within sight of the sea. He correctly surmises that the map will not work here.
What about this beggar, though?
The girl is too...
Are you out here again? Have you finished the chores I gave you?
Yes, stepmother. The house and the stables are clean.
Then start polishing the silverware! Do I have to tell you everything?
Yes, stepmother. Right away.
We're going to be able to do something with her later, I'm sure of it. Oof. Being kept as a slave. So we've got the bookstore. I don't believe there's anything we can do in there just yet. We have the pawn shop. We can get 1 of 4 items. For what purpose? I don't know just yet. The peddler has disappeared. I'm assuming he'll come back later. Because at this point in the game, I don't think it's possible to find a lamp. Shamir, I assume, is a genie, or your stereotypical genie, and therefore he has a lamp of his own which we can steal, use, swap. Don't know. Let's go to the speech though, and check out this magic map. There's a break in the recording there because that's where I stopped.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
What's on the map? Land of the Green Isles. We have Isle of the Crown, that's where we are. The Isle of Wonder. The very large Isle of the Sacred Mountain. And Isle of the Beast.
Nothing happens. Apparently the map won't teleport its user anywhere except the other islands. It's a good thing, too. Alexander has had enough of ocean swimming lately. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The magic map lays out what Alexander assumes is the whole of the land of the Green Isles. The distinctive islands are separated from each other by the deadly sea.
Deadly is the word. If we step into it, we die immediately.
The Isle of the Crown lies at the south of the map. According to the magic map, the Isle of Wonder is a comma-shaped island poised in the sea to the west.
It kind of reminds me of the Mitama demons in Shin Megami Tensei. You know, those little ones with the expressive faces? No? Never mind.
A large island named the Isle of the Sacred Mountain dominates the north of the land of the Green Isles. There's a small island labeled Isle of the Beast on the east side of Alexander's map. An ornate compass marker directs the bearer of the map. The map bears the title, The Land of the Green Isles.
I did not mean to do that.
What
about the mists?
Heavy mists shroud an area to the southeast on the magic map. Nothing happens. Apparently, the map won't teleport its user anywhere except the other islands. It's probably just as well. Who knows what might be in those mists?
Interesting. Okay, well, the next one in the manual is the Isle of Wonder. And just because it's listed next in the manual, I think that's where I'll go. Just taking a look at this, fortunately, it is not too long. The Isle of Wonder. Imagine a place where the very path beneath your feet might complain of your weight, and the trees purposely drop twigs on your head for the sheer merriment of it all, and you'll have an idea of what it's like to be on the Isle of Wonder. The Isle of Wonder is a comma-shaped body of land that might as well resemble a question mark, for confusion and astonishment are sure to be the loss of the unsuspecting visitor. The island is teeming with life. Vegetation is abundant, as are the island's inhabitants. In fact, the two are frequently one and the same. One can scarcely pick up a grain of sand on that shore without it demanding to be put right back. And this instant, if you please. Oh God. Sounds like Wonderland. The history of this unusual island is an issue of fervent speculation. Many believe that it was an uninteresting deserted island until a wizard enchanted the whole place, bringing everything in it to life, and presented it to his daughter as a birthday present. Others say that the island was once the prison of a beautiful princess, held captive there by a powerful and jealous queen. Agatha, perhaps? The maiden was so fair that the very trees and stones themselves could not bear to hear her crying and came to life to provide her companionship. Still, another group ardently claims that the creator of the universe simply got tired of the serious business of life-giving and decided to indulge his or her sense of humour. Whatever the origin, a more delightful spot could scarcely be imagined. But be warned, those travellers who'd like to know exactly what to expect from life would be well advised to go elsewhere. While most of the island's inhabitants are friendly, some of the thornier natives are capable of being downright rude, and all are quirksome. Visitors are frequent on the Isle of Wonder, for it offers a refreshing respite from the ho-hum of everyday life. Even the king and queen enjoy a picnic on exclamation points or a stroll in the gardens, and they are on occasion to be found there, relaxing and passing the time of day with the island's natives. The rulers of the Isle of Wonder are a pair of queens, rivals in every way, and most frequently to be found arguing over everything from the colour of the sky to the consistency of potato hash. Despite their eccentricities, the Isle of Wonder seems to run smoothly and be a flourishing part of the kingdom, providing many valuable exports and lending the kingdom a lightheartedness to counter its more serious countrymen on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. And the Isle of the Sacred Mountain is a wall of text, and I don't want to look at that just yet, so you know what? Let's go check out the Isle of Wonder.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
What have we got ourselves into?
Alexander is standing on a rocky beach. To the north is dense tropical vegetation. Near the shore are a dozen or so oyster beds.
Literal oyster beds.
One of the oysters is sitting up in bed and doesn't look very happy. He seems to be the only one who can't sleep. In the oyster's mouth, Alexander can see a glint of white.
A pearl.
Oyster beds line the seashore. Most of the oysters are sound asleep.
Alright, so I think we have something that can help him sleep. Or her. But I'm not sure if this will work or not. Let's have a chat.
Why aren't you asleep like the other oysters?
Oh, I'm so weary, but I can't sleep. I have a terrible ache in my mouth.
What's wrong with your mouth?
No offense, but it hurts too much to talk.
What's wrong with...
No.
Can I grab the pearl while it's yawning? Also, that looks very suspicious. Is that going to move out again?
One of the oysters...
Okay, so it's not yawning naturally.
Alexander...
What is this?
A string of letters floats in the water. The letters spell out, "Where are you going?" Alexander's heard of alphabet soup, but this is ridiculous.
String of letters.
Alexander picks up the object floating in the water. It appears to be a string of letters. They say, "Where are you going?" Alexander decides to keep the odd sentence, even though it is incomplete.
Very odd.
Alexander is carrying, oddly enough, a sentence. It says, "Where are you going?"
Interesting. Okay, can I read you a bedtime story? I can.
If you're having trouble sleeping, perhaps you'd like me to read to you.
Hey, that would be great.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of 40 half-dulcimers, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of 53 1/8 bottles of wild beast lard, yields a gilded minnow of precise measurements, 2,069 centidrills by 3,023 6/7 puns, not punts, as might be expected. This is not to say, however, in any sense whatsoever, that deviations in mean temperature of 5 or 6 dregs or so.
Alexander makes a grab for the pearl.
Hey! You fixed my mouth! It feels great!
The little oyster drifts into peaceful slumber with the rest of his oyster friends.
And we've obtained a pearl for our efforts.
The flawless pearl is the largest Alexander's ever seen.
Okay, can we wake up the oyster?
Alexander doesn't want to wake up the sleeping oyster.
No, Alexander's a nice person. He doesn't like to abuse animals like I do. Like I did that one time with the cat. Whatever. What else we got here?
Alexander is standing on a rocky beach. To the north is dense tropical vegetation. Near the shore,
We saw that?
large craggy boulders lie on the beach as though pushed up from the sea by giant hands. To the north, the island is dense with vegetation.
What about to the east?
To the north, Alexander, the blue ocean stretches on for as far as Alexander can see.
I assume the undertow is present here as well.
The ocean is not as calm as it appears. Underwater currents tug at Alexander's legs.
Also, yeah, I'm very grateful that the music was quiet in the background there because I don't know if that will get me DMCA'd or not.
Alexander hears someone coming.
That was a very classic lullaby. That's more than one.
5 fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man, said he, with ears and nose, tongue, hands, and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If man it be, then man it dies.
5 dwarves?
Old Tantro, smell your smell. Do that which you do so well.
Okay, we're going to die. Shamir works fast. If he smells a man, then they're presumably going to kill us. I assume they have the power to kill us. Let me make a new save because I might need to get off this beach very quickly. I'll call them dwarves even though I don't know if they are actually dwarves.
4 gnomes stand waiting in line.
Correction, they're gnomes.
A gnome with a huge nose stands before Alexander. A gnome with a...
I'm locked out of everything else, so I can't move. I presumably need to show them things that pass the sense tests that prove that I'm not a man.
Alert, my brothers, as we feared. A man has landed here.
We're dead.
A man, so Sarah knows. Into the waiting sea he goes.
Just like that.
The gnomes toss Alexander too far out into the sea for him to get his footing. The currents drag him under.
This could be a very short visit to the Isle of Wonder. Maybe I need to go elsewhere.
Tickets up. Next.
Guess those gnomes couldn't reach a consensus.
Oh boy, that's fun. I'll show you the mints.
Alexander holds the item out for the gnome with the stupendous nose.
My nose cannot be tricked that way. The smell of man still rules the day.
Ooh.
The man.
Can I get out of here? Good. Something that smells really bad or strong. I don't believe I have anything. The rabbit's paw, I can definitely see that tricking one of them. That's maybe? Not sure about the rest. Okay. I have a problem. Can I go north?
Alexander hears someone coming.
I cannot go north. That is a scripted event that happens if I try going north. What about east?
Alexander.
What about just hanging out on the beach here? No, if I try leaving this screen,
Alexander hears someone coming.
we get hosed. Nothing else here makes me think of a smell. I mean, the mints, you would imagine that would smell, that would give something off, but nothing else here is jumping out at me, apart from the rabbit's foot perhaps? But that seems more like it would pass a different sense test, like touch.
Alexander.
My nose.
Yeah. Alright, well that was a very quick visit to the Isle of Wonder. Can I use the magic map to get out? I doubt it, but let me try.
Alexander. The Isle of the... Alexander feels a strange...
Interesting. The smell test. What do we have available at the pawnbroker? Just looking at and making some notes. We had a nightingale, a mechanical nightingale, a flute, a tinderbox, and a paintbrush. I don't believe any of those items are going to get us into that island.